And this is the area we're going to look at this time, halfway down the west coast of France, shall we say. You may remember we've looked at the Medoc Peninsula with Soulac-sur-Mer, we've seen Bordeaux, and we've seen Périgord. We're going just a bit further north, and we're going to fly to La Rochelle. I want to have a look at Niort, and then we found out we could see somewhere else. Then we'll go on to Saintes for 5 nights, calling at Rochefort on the way. We'll then go across to have a look at Angoulême, on to La Rochefoucauld, and call at Cognac on the way back. We'll then have a look at Royan, seaside town. We'll hire a car for 2 days to see some Romanesque churches and the Ile d'Oran. And then we'll go back to Rochelle for a couple of nights, where we'll see Ile de Ré, more of La Rochelle, and back to London. We arrived at La Rochelle late yesterday afternoon, and this morning we've caught the 7:45 train to Niort. Right, here we are at Niort, and he's off to Poitiers for the correspondance for Paris. In the old days, the main industry of Niort was the making of leather goods, and in Napoleonic times 30 cavalry regiments were kept supplied with leather breeches. The main industry today, I'm told, is the insurance industry, and so many insurance companies have moved their head office here that Niort is known as the most bourgeois town in France. And this is, can't remember, it's the first church you come to as you leave the station and walk towards the town centre. If you walk a little nearer to the town centre, you get to the cathedral. This is the Cathedral Church of Notre Dame, a Gothic work completed around 1534. According to a leaflet I picked up there, l'église Notre Dame n'a donc jamais eu le titre de cathédrale. So there we are. We're in the centre of the old town. We're walking down a gentle slope to the road which follows the old marketplace along a gully between the two hills on which Niort is built. This is that main road here, and oh, what have we here? Now that, now from the other end you can tell that it's the Loch Ness Monster. And now we have, as ever, the covered market hall, and just at the side of it, a castle which was started by none other than Henry II. This is the River Sèvre Niortaise, and another view shortly of the castle, which I'm told, is currently a museum. Napoleon spent his last night in Europe, not in the donjon, but in a house nearby, I'm told. Right, I'm now back in this big square, which seems to be under reconstruction after a tour of as many back streets of Niort as I want to see. Mainly caused by heading for that church spire over there, thinking it was this first one I saw. So back to the station, where I discovered that there was a bus leaving shortly for Fontenay with a convenient return time. So here we are in Fontenay. Come on the bus. We've actually seen the sun. It stopped raining, and according to that it's about 18. And it's not 3:10, so certainly seem to be going for these big spires round here. I've seen several on the way here. Although this Fontenay wasn't the Fontenay Abbey that I'd read about so often, it was a very pleasant trip out. The lady bus driver spoke fairly good English. At one point a local got on the bus, and whether he knew I was English I don't know, but he was on and on about les Anglais this and les Anglais that I thought I'd better keep my head down. And when he got off, I asked the driver what he'd been saying, and she said that twice he'd just been about to bid for a house and had been outbid by les Anglais, so it's perhaps as well I kept my head down. He wasn't really a happy man. All in all, it was a very pleasant trip out, and as usual a very good driver. There you are, just got on the platform to go back to La Rochelle, and the sun comes out. And you see we're travelling back to La Rochelle by TGV. Now, I think TGVs are brilliant, but to be quite honest, for my purposes being on holiday, I find local trains a lot more friendly and I much prefer them.